No, like,
Hello, can you guys hear?
video.
There's
Sorry, I did mute myself. Can you now? Okay. Okay, so for those on the phone, I'm going to start over again. If you are able to have a separate computer, you can go on to our training URL. This is not the live URL. The live URL will be sent to you on Monday. It'll also be on our Imagine Resources page. But you can log in the train site with us today and look at your own information. The company name is Imagine Train, one word. Username, 5-digit employee number, and then the password is your 4-digit birth year and the word Imagine. So an example would be 1982 Imagine. We're going to go ahead and get started and log on. One other thing to note, I think I've told some of you already, but if you do go in to this training site and make any changes to your W-4 or your direct deposit, because it'll give you the options and forms to do that, they won't actually be brought over to the live environment, so you'll want to, you can do it now to practice, but you'll certainly want to do any changes again in the live environment.
so that they'll be picked up, okay? We are asking everybody to, when they get to the live environment, just to double check your information. You know, we had to bring all the data that we had for you from Paylocity into this new system, and we feel like we've done, you know, audited all over the place to make sure everything's correct, but we are still asking that you will check that your direct deposit is set up correctly, that your taxes are set up correctly, your name and address all look correct, and certainly if not, let us know, okay? And my name, by the way, is Wendy. I'm the payroll specialist at Imagine, and we're going to have a special email address for any questions pertaining specifically to Dayforce. If you're having any problems logging in or doesn't look like that the information we have for you is correct, we're going to be posting it. It's going to be something like Dayforce at imaginecolorado.org, but look for that email on the website when we go live on Monday. On Monday, the link to the new program will be posted on the Imagine website under Employee Resources, and that is, you know, imaginecolorado.org, and then go to Employee Resources, and the link for the new program will be right there. And also there will be links to documentation, how to use the program, troubleshooting, and how to load Silverlight. And we have a special set of directions just for FREs. So look for the documentation that says FRE. And hopefully that'll answer any of your questions. But if you have any trouble, again, just use the email address that we post on the website. So let's make sure I can get in now. We set up a dummy employee, and her name is Lady Gaga, and manager is Donald Trump. So I believe most of you were able to get in, and this would have been what you saw when you logged in. These two screens aren't especially relevant to you and your program. So I thought we'd start with probably the most important piece that we're going to want to do is getting to timesheets and complete those. So up here, you'll see these options. You'll click on Employee Timesheet. If your doesn't come up or if it doesn't load information, you can always hit load. That's kind of a refresh or a prompt, and the load button is right here. Maybe if you have put time in and then you go back in and you don't see it, just click on the load button. Navigation in the program for your timesheets is all done right up here. You see these green arrows. This will take you forward and backward in your timesheet. And one nice thing about this program is you're going to be able to go back and look historically at old timesheets. Say you just got your paycheck and you can't remember, you want to make sure you were paid for the right number of hours. You can go back to whatever time period. Of course, it's not going to have anything prior to December 22nd, but as we go forward, you'll be able to go back. But we have not brought in all the information from Kronos, so you won't be able to go back before December 22nd. But as we move on, I think it'll be real handy for you because you have access to all of this in one login. This calendar right here will also help you navigate further back. You know, instead of clicking week by week by week, you know, say you want to go back 2 months, you can just open the calendar arrow back and forth, and then click on the Monday. That is the beginning of the payroll week. One difference with this program is you are only going to see 1 week at a time. So you'll make sure that you're like going back to double check the hours and double check both weeks by arrowing back and forth. So I've looked at some time right here for Lady Gaga, but let me go to a blank page. Okay, so I've scrolled in, but this is probably what you're seeing for your information. Notice when I click on these days, oh, you know what, there it goes. A girl comes up, or green plus sign, I apologize, green plus sign. Click on it, and that's where you add your shift. Now, this first drop down is not going to be really relevant to you. This is where you would change cost centers if you happen to work for other programs, but I don't think that that's necessarily true anymore. So it's just going to default to your cost center, which is 360. The second drop down is going to be relevant for you because this is going to be how you access your different pay rates. They're already loaded for you and based on the different jobs that you're performing. Gaga has PC respite. I'm not quite sure. The guy set these up, and I don't know that he thought they made sense to him, but group housekeeper is probably not a job title you're going to see. But more importantly, you will see this documentation, and that's where you're going to enter your hours for doing your documentation, training, meetings, that kind of thing. So you'll pick whichever one is appropriate, decide it, click it, and then close. And we're going to, these 3 fields are not going to be relevant to us. This is where you're going to enter your time. And it's smart enough to know if you just type the number 8 and the letter A, it knows that that's 8 a.m. You don't have to put all the zeros and the A.M. So I'm just typing in 8A, and then we tab off of it. It picks up 8 a.m. And for P, it is 4 p.m. And here's the field where you're going to enter your notes. This is the we have with Chronos is we have less characters available to add notes. I know that that's we have 75 characters, and I think in most cases that's going to be enough. But if it isn't, I'll show you a little trick to get all the notes in that you need. Just give me a minute. I just get something up here and XYZ. Okay.
Just that initial drop down menu where we select what our, pay standard. Where it has the name, we put our there.
No, that's going to be in the comments field. Yeah, like where I put XYZ.
So a question in the room that asked, where are we supposed to put where clients that we're working with? And so for those of you on the phone, this is where you would put, John, and then community outing or what you could put.
For these fields, you just write the last name of the client, and then a slash, and then if you're doing rec or personal care, you have to put an R or
Yeah.
That's Kronos, I highly recommend that after you make an entry, you save it. I think if there's, that's kind of just best practice, so that if there is a problem, like if you've entered all your information and there's a problem and it won't save, you have to go back and look and figure where that is. So if you just save after each entry, I think it'll go a little smoother for you. So before we get back to the note, adding the additional notes or additional characters, I do want to show you, because certainly you're like to do more than one in and out punch for a day. I've entered one right here for her, but if you'll notice when I hover over the bottom, it gives me a green plus sign and a red X. If you click on that red X, it just deletes everything. I just did. I didn't mean to click it. I'm saving this. And the plus sign, obviously, another shift to that same day. So I'm still on Monday, December 29th, and I'm able to add another shift. One thing, caution you, when you're adding another shift per day, make sure that you're double checking, because it may default to the one that you most recently used. So you want to go back in and make sure you're on the correct job. And close. I'm sorry, did you have a question? Somebody? It's on all hand. Okay. So I'm going to do something to show you if, well, actually, let me back up. There is another difference that I want to point out to you that I think you're going to appreciate after having used Kronos. Knows that you can stop one function at 5 p.m. and start another function at 5 p.m. So you no longer have to go in and say 5:01, right? I see a few smiles. You recognize that's been a nuisance. So if I put 5 p.m. and 6 p.m., that's pretty nice. So it's going to show basically if you, during this period 9 to 5, if you ended up having to add more notes and ran out of characters, recommending, and I'm just going to go back in and delete this because this wouldn't be here. I'm recommending that you end this shift at 4:30, and if you notice, I'm just clicking on this clock and it's backing up in 15-minute increments. So maybe back it up to 4:30. I've added notes here, and then I'm just going to add another shift that starts again at 4:30. I'm going to make sure that I'm using the correct code. Ending that one 4:30 p.m. Ending that 5 and continuing my notes right here. You can pretty much insert as many of those as you'll need. I know it's a little messy, but that was just you know, it was a give and take. We got a lot of benefits, but that was one thing that was unfortunate. We didn't have the characters here that we did in Kronos, but the workaround, and Jenna is working on being able to get reports from this, so we're hoping it'll be neater at her end as well ultimately. Does anybody have any questions about entering a shift, entering notes, any of the drop downs for that?
They were saying about the
right now, if you are
And for you on the phone, we had a good question. Jenna needs, in your comments, for you to put the consumer's last name and put, if you're doing PC or respite in those first few characters of the notes, and then putting your, comments in. Oh, she's, whether you're doing PC or respite. Yes.
So is there a place if you're doing respite care, or what would you be referring to at the time?
That be in the comments. You type it in here. You have 75 characters. Again, if you need more space, just shift in there for 15 minutes or a half hour. This be up here.
The split will only be for personal care or respite right now, and every other job category should be its own job category under the law.
The question for you on the phone was, what about enhanced homemaker? And all of the job descriptions should be in your drop-down list, and certainly if they're not, we can get them added real quickly for you. So it's just PC and respite right now that need to be identified in the first few characters of the comments. So, more questions, I'll move on. Go ahead.
I filled out 2 time slots. I'm trying to save this thing. There are 2 errors.
Mhm. And on the phone, we have somebody that's getting an error, and you'll see, I think the possibilities for errors are most likely in overlapping of time. Say I have a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and my second one let's see, instead of 4:30 maybe I put 4 p.m. and then save, and it's gonna go, well, I'm sorry, on this one it's not showing the error. We're noticing that there are a few things in this training environment that weren't on. What I've done here is overlapped a shift on the same day, and there's supposed to be a little red X up here, and we noticed a few of these things that we have in the live environment weren't set up in the training environment. So it will show you in like this Rex, and it'll even, if you click it, it'll show you where the problem is. Bless you. I'm gonna just drop another, you know what, this is other quirk that we've run into in this training environment. I don't believe it's going to be a problem in the live environment, but if it is, notice I went into another shift for her on Tuesday, and I'm not getting that green arrow. And it's a little, I don't know what, I can't remember what the guy at Ceridian called it, a quirk or a bug, but it run into that where it won't let you add time the next day. I'm not seeing it consistently, it just happens once in a while. Just go to the second field, like you see, these are all rows for this 1 week. Just drop down and start adding your shifts there, and you'll notice it popped it back in up at the top. So, like, if you didn't get a plus sign to come for you here, click bottom one, add, click on the plus sign and it'll add it back to the top. So, you know, those IT people hate to say bug, but I'm calling that a bug. The times that are there what you want instead of if you save, they won't save because they default. You just have to click on them and then they'll save. See, there was a problem, but that's just because it wasn't taking. I didn't confirm that I wanted 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on this. So, let me show you that again because that could come up for you. So I clicked in, it defaulted to 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. That was the time I wanted, so I went up to save. It says that there's a problem with it, and that's because I didn't confirm that I wanted 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So in order to get it to take it, I just click on this little check mark right here, and it turns into a clock, and then it'll let me save that. Any questions on that part? Well, other features that I think you'll appreciate a lot more, especially since we're in one login now for our pay, so we know what our earning statements look like, and can look at an earning statement and compare it to a timesheet. There's actually a feature here that I really like about this program. When I'm in this week, I have this option up here called View Pay. And if you click on that, it's going to give you, and you can have a daily view or a weekly view up in this corner. I like a daily view. It's a little cleaner to look at. But this is giving me, I'm clicking Friday right now. It's telling me number of hours, the job, and the pay rate, and the actual pay is for that day. You can look at it for the week as well and see your earnings under each different pay code. Here now, we won't have this holiday, this employee, because she's tested, we used her for somebody else. But you see if, you know, secondary pay rates for documentation, or if you have more than one primary pay rate, you're going to get to confirm what you're being paid for each day, so you'll know that it's right. I strongly encourage you to double check that after you've entered your time. So I think that's one of the common mistakes we see, is that somebody wasn't paid the correct pay rate. So this gives you a chance to double check that, and hopefully we prevent errors. Whenever you've had it, does the phone have a question? Okay. So navigation things too in this program is different things that open up a window up here, and all you have to do is hit this X to turn them off and get back to your previous screen. So I've already saved. Any questions on view pay or any of those pieces? Okay. To get back to that main screen, which I don't think is especially useful to you at this point, although it does have a calendar, which is kind of nice. Click My Work. But the piece that I think you're going to really appreciate too is run this timesheet. You're going to get to see your earnings statements. And let's see. Yeah, I had one loaded for Lady Gaga. The C is your most recent one will pop open. This is actually going to be posted before you get paid. You're going to get to see your paycheck probably by the Friday before payday, it should be posted. If you want to see prior paychecks, drop down will be here. It'll let you back up. You can see this is a 12/16 payroll date. And that's the only one she has. But this is a pretty nice feature, I think, that you're going to be able to see that in the same place you're recording your hours. And again, too, we've got this search feature. Say, we're only going to have earned statements in here for hours that we recorded and were paid through this new program. But if you get into the year, if you want to go back and look at, say it's June and you're maybe buying a car and you wanted to get back to your January, February, March earnings statements, you can just arrow back and do a search that way with the calendar. Like do a range, starting December 1st, January 31st, and you'll just find all of your earnings statements for that period. And you can turn the filter, that's the filter, and this just turns the filter on and off. You can refresh. When you're viewing a earnings statement, if you want to print it, the print option is right here. Okay. So my benefit, is there any questions on earnings statements? So this drop-down is not going to be really relevant to you. The drop-down under Me is going to be something you're going to want to take a look at. It has all of your personal information, and you can look at it by clicking on Profile. And I loaded a picture of a koala bear for Lady Gaga. We are going to ask people to start putting their pictures. We're going to start trying to keep pictures of people. And you just do that by adding a plus sign. Unlike Lady Gaga, we have pictures of pets. We want to put our pictures in there if possible. So, that's not high priority. It's not mandatory. It's just something we'd like to start thinking about going forward, since this program utilizes low pictures. So if you look, you're getting all of your information about you as an employee and your personal information here. Lady Gaga does not have an emergency contact, and say you look and, go ahead.
Can we update our
Yeah, it's just going to show you how. Definitely, we're hoping that you'll double check, and if you find anything wrong or if something changes. And the question was, can we change this information? That's all done through forms. So you click on Forms. Under Personal is where you'll change your address, any of your confidential information, details, direct deposit, emergency contacts, marital status, even name changes. That's under Personal. And tax forms for changing your withholding your W-4. Right now in this environment, we actually tried to do one, and it wanted us a signature before we submitted it, and I think that's just a problem with this environment, that we really actually will be able to just submit them when we go live. But I'm going to just double check with my IT guy, and if there's anything peculiar about how you submit that, make sure I put that in the documentation. So when you click on that, they call it a form, but what you'll see is your old address. Basically, you're going to click on New and put your information in. And you're just gonna, you can save it as a draft. That won't submit it. But say you got through entering it and then you can't remember what your new zip code is, just save it as a draft while you go look at it. Otherwise, you can submit. It didn't look it because I didn't fill out all the information. I would, let's see, you can delete one, but it's going to keep, you can delete your address, but it's going to keep a record of it for history. Any questions on that? There's also places to change phone numbers and emergency contacts. All of these are just in these forms. Any questions? Well, that's mostly what I have here. User preferences is where you can change your password. That's just the link to the HR job posting. And I don't know that you're going to see many messages, but there is a place for, maybe Jen has sent a message to everybody. What I suggest is just, if you have a number by it, if you happen to log in and see, like this has a 1, just popping in there and seeing what the message is. And then logging off is just this door. This is what you click on to log off. So that's about it. Does everybody feel about this? Does it look and feel a little friendlier than the last program? Yeah. Sure. I'm getting questions for you on the phone. I'll bring them back to you so that you can hear the answer. Hold on.
So I'm going to also put back the URL if you want to follow along again, because this URL is good through Sunday. Monday, everything on there ready to go by midnight. Monday night? Yeah, or Monday night at midnight. So, yeah, anytime on Monday, whenever you're ready. No, it allow you to go. I know, that's what's nice about this. I go to 12, and then you can log in again at 12 and say, and then I did this rate. So 9 to 12. If you're doing different things. No, you're right. Midnight, 5 a.m. Yeah, it'll take anything after midnight, but I mean, no, the system knows it's shift. If you're doing the same thing, I'm doing the rest of it. Yeah, 11 to 1. Okay. Do 11 to 1. But I mean, even if you were doing it during the day, if you're working 1 to 2, you would do 1 to 2, and then, now we're going to do community event, or, at 3, you can clock in from 2 to 3. And it's the Java that...
Those of you on the phone, the question was there any further steps that you need to take after you've finished your timesheet for the 2 weeks? Do you need to submit it or notify Jenna? And the answer is no. You submit your hours by the time they're due, and she will have access to them. Did else have a question?
Yeah. Thank you for coming. We appreciate it. If you have, any questions, you can always email Jenna. You can email there'll be a email address for questions on Monday. It's called Dayforce, .imaginecolorado.org. So, Dayforce at imaginecolorado.org. Any questions can go there, and we'll start answering those. And that will also go out on Monday, too. If you have any questions, we'll say, here's where to submit all your questions. They'll be answered 24/7 for the first month. Thank you.